Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Special Teams podcast. I'm Brad Phillips, the host, and with me, you may know him from our favourite segment, Commissioner's Corner, Commissioner's Chat, Commissioner's whatever. We decided to bring the corner to the podcast live this time, so welcome, Commissioner Jeffrey Guthrie.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks for joining. We've got a laundry list of topics to talk through today. It's been a busy week in fantasy football, as it always is. First of all, we want to throw it way back. We want to talk a bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Your season.
Fair.
I think the question we've all been asking for pretty much every season so far is, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, well, this season it was pick 1.1. So yeah, back
the Devil's
to,
Curse.
Yes, yeah, taking the advice from Mr. Wabi Weaver. It turned out to be terrible because that just threw off my whole draft feng shui.
This is what, season 12, 13, probably 15 years of knowing Wabi?
Yeah,
You decided to take his advice for your number one pick.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just figured, as a Niners fan, maybe he was paying closer attention. And, Wabi can surprise with nuggets of wisdom or nuggets of horseshit, as it turns out.
They do flush out every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about, we spoke with Braden Spencer last week about Benchgate and the IR spot, and his lawyers have spoken to your lawyers and vice versa. Figured I'd give you the right of reply for 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot really to say. Alls one would have to do is look at the standings as of, I believe it was last week, where the three people that had that extra IR spot were sitting at 1, 2, and 3, I believe. But, at least I have this gin to kind of help wash everything down with.
It does make all the pain taste a whole lot sweeter, I'll tell you that much. And
Maybe from those lawyers or maybe not from those lawyers.
Yeah, look, an out-of-court settlement is what I'm hearing, hence the very expensive gin that Jeff's got with us today.
Yep.
This has been a big week, as I said, in NFL and fantasy. NFL-wise, we've just had the trade deadline, which hasn't been as big and flashy as previous ones. There's been no CMC trade like there was last year. We did... Probably the trade that's got everyone talking, and it's something that could really decide the NFL championship as well as fantasy championship, was the big move from Cleveland to Detroit from Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yes.
That's what everyone's talking about.
A lot of championships on the line there. Definitely. I don't know. I think, is he just wasting away on Dougal's bench potentially?
He's wasting away everywhere, I think. But the real big one was Chase Young from Washington to the 49ers. The lovely rich get richer. And look, on a three-game slide, we've needed some help in the defensive end, so I'm pretty happy about getting the former number 2 pick.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Just Bosa and Chase Young. Like, quarterbacks, Geno Smith is not going to be happy.
He's shaking in his boots.
Yeah. And then the Seahawks, you see what they got, and they got a guy that was...
Leonard Williams.
All right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's no Chase.
You probably paid a lot more for him than we did for Chase, so it's swings and roundabouts.
Yep.
The other one's Joshua Dobbs going from being benched in Arizona for a 0-game rookie to now starting for the much vaunted Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings, unfortunately that really hurts. Justin Jefferson coming back. I'm a proud owner of Hawkinson. Hopefully that doesn't hurt his stock too much, but I don't know. Maybe the Vikings were studying film and they saw something they liked in Dobbs that none of us could see.
That none of us could see at all. And probably the most viscerally named player, Montez Sweat, moving from Washington to Chicago. From a defensive side, doesn't relate to fantasy at all. I just love saying Montez Sweat.
Well, yeah, and potentially, as far as jersey orders go, maybe that's one that you got to get.
Yeah, Sweat and Swift only 2 letters apart.
Mm-hmm.
Could be top of the charts. Special teams trade deadline. It's a couple weeks away.
Yep.
Do you want to let the people know when it is and what we should look out for?
Yeah. So it's trade deadline is week 11. So that will be after all of the games have played. So you're going to have the Monday night game. Well, Tuesday for us. Like, I believe right as soon as that one finishes is like when it chops. And all the trades are done. So we are 1 week beyond what's normal. Most people end in week 10, but we wanted to push it out a little ways. Yeah. So we're at week 11, and trades have kind of died down a bit.
They peaked there for a couple of weeks, but now everyone's kind of found their rhythm.
Is that because Braden's on holiday right now?
It could be. The chief antagonizer is no longer whispering in your ear and stabbing you in the back all the way from Italy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like I did get a pretty good. All fairness to Braden, he does offer some good trades, and I feel like I was able to get wide receiver 1 for an injured Justin Jefferson, but I don't know. I was very hungover, and he was very persistent.
He knows when to strike. That's for sure. Well, we love you, Braden. Be safe. So you heard Jeff. We've got 3 more weeks, so keep those trades coming.
Yeah.
One thing we wanted to mention, Jeff, was what the people out in the special teams forums are calling Disclosure Gate.
Yeah.
Run us through.
Well, it all happened when, I don't think I noticed it until I saw a note from Ben pop up. And not too many people use the sleeper chat.
No.
Most of it's in Signal. And I think I saw Ben say something like, I'll have $20 as well. And, I just was kind of looking around and I was like, what? $20 for nothing? Like, what is going on here? It was $20, yeah?
Yeah, it was $20.
Yeah. So, and then, the signal starts going ping, 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 ping. You start getting notifications as other people start to notice. And
it's like Adam Schefter's dropped or a Woj bomb has dropped and then suddenly Twitter explodes.
Yeah. So that was an interesting one. I wasn't quite sure what happened there. I was wondering if it was like a fat-fingered trade. I wasn't quite sure. I was like, did someone take a dive in the previous week and that was just like some hush money that maybe wasn't so hush?
Yeah. Was it just a transfer of poker winnings from the night before? We're, of course, referencing Rich and Synth with the phantom second addendum to the trade of giving $20.
Yes.
And I suppose we just wanted to reiterate, just tell everyone what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, no, not that we're accusing people of secret deals or whatever, but if you do that, just say, hey, this is part of the deal. Now that I've got money, here it is, Rich.
Yeah, and I was on the phone to a few people who, were like, hey, it's not quite on because of, one reason or another. Because I'd only seen it as, it was, they forgot to disclose it as part of the trade, fair enough, and now it's out there. But I could see, I thought, it's got a few different perspectives how that could have been maybe a bit dicier. But yeah, I think... I don't know. We got through it because there was that, and then I think the next day was it Braden's trade, and it looked like he had an extra bench spot or something.
The old trading for a player that's already played, and good old sleeper. We love it, but some of its UX is a little bit dodgy in that showing up fine for me. Other people with showing screenshots. Yeah.
Well, and the interesting one on that is would he have been able to, one of the players was locked. Would he have been able to trade one of the players that was traded if his quarterback hadn't played already? I think Goff was traded over, but Carr had already played.
Yep.
That was a adventure-filled weekend on Sleeper, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got to keep the group chat going somehow. Mm-hmm. Let's go through. Speaking of games being played, the 6 head-to-head matches of special teams this week. Start off with the game of the round of yourself over our man Benny Cause. This was a tight one.
Oh, man. Talk about 2 weeks in a row of stress. And by the way, thank you, Braden, for the win previously. You had been talking so much shit on WhatsApp about just take your loss, take your medicine. Everyone's on bye. But I hope you liked that medicine. But yeah, BK, gosh, Ben and Braden right in a row. Holy cow.
Yeah. Getting the 2 Bs back to back, if you will.
Yeah.
On a big game from CD Lamb, putting up 38 points.
Yeah, that's just, kind of that trade coming through. Finally, Dallas has worked out, hey, maybe we should throw him the ball every now and again.
Exactly. It worked for me picking up Dak this week, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, well, that was a great pickup.
The real question I want to ask you is what are you going to do with Taysom Hill on your bench? He's been throwing balls, he's been catching balls, he's been running balls.
That was
but
another
as soon
one.
as you put him in, he's just going to sit on the fine.
100%. Yeah, I am going to probably be starting him this week. I don't know if that's just like, throwing a curse out into the fantasy universe or something. But he's the kind of guy that he's going to score 30 if he's on your bench, but then he gets into your lineup. I don't know. I don't have any running backs, so probably just have to put him in the flex spot.
May have to. And I've got to say the Monday Night Football just affected so many games this week, and got to give it up for Benny and St. Brown, the sun god himself.
Yeah.
Was sick as a dog apparently, and almost got him over the line.
I know. I was really hoping that he just would have stayed in bed, taken his NyQuil.
Yeah. Just take a double dose and have a rest.
Yeah, heating pad. Just rest up, buddy. You don't need to play because when he came in, because I had a few guys that just didn't quite score. I think Lamar Jackson maybe played late or something, and before he played, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go way out in front. And then I saw the line. I was like, oh gosh, this isn't gonna be good.
Real too close.
Yeah.
Well, on my match, I beat Mrs. Commish, which is always a great thing to have on the resume, and I'm sure you copped that more than I did on the text chat. But geez, tell you what, I think I was 75 points clear at the start of Monday Night Football. And then Jameer Gibbs just came out firing. Yeah. And for a second there, I'm thinking, because she had a few other players to play. I'm like, if he scores 1 or 2 more touchdowns, I could be in real trouble. It's a huge effort.
Yeah, it turns out the man can play. But yeah, Mrs. Commish, again, just the team couldn't quite step up. Had to play the person that scored the most points on the round.
Yeah.
The Gus Bus.
The Gus Bus stopped all stations on the way to the end zone.
Yeah, he did.
Multiple times.
Stole all Jackson's TDs.
Yep. And yeah, Dak picked him up off the waivers for an injured Justin Fields, who may not start in my starting lineup again. I haven't been burnt by Dak before. I was hesitant.
Yeah. No, I saw that waiver claim go through, and I was like, ooh, that was a very sneaky one. Yeah.
I'll take it. And we move on to next week. The other games were Braden defeating Dave with 12.5 points. Another one where the difference was probably Jared Goff on Monday Night Football. Yep. Put up the amount of points winning to get over the line. Braden moves to 6-2. Dave to 2-6. So it's a little bit of opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah. I mean, that one for Dave wasn't as close as previous weeks. I think he's lost 3 games with a total of about 5 points difference between them or something like that. He's just lost some heartbreakers.
And when you go from getting 50 points from DJ Moore to 9 points, it's a bit of a drop off a cliff.
Yeah, and at least he did have Eckler come back around, finally showed up.
Yeah, and looked like prime Eckler. Looked like that top 3 draft pick fantasy-wise. The next game was Synth beating Rich by about 14 points off the back of Herbert, Devonta Smith, and Dalton Kincaid, who was a great pickup at tight end and came through and scored 16 points and ended up being just about the winning margin.
Yeah, no, that was another sneaky pickup. Tight ends have been tough this year, as they usually are. Although between Dalton and a few of the other ones that might be floating around on your waiver wire, there are a few deals to be had I think I think that
3 more weeks, keep trading.
Yeah, I think that game kind of switched where Rich and Synth were in the rankings as well.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's very hard to win from Rich's point when Patrick Mahomes probably should have stayed in bed and had Michael.
Yeah.
And picked up another QB because 8 points from him, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy you can normally bank on 30 and walk away and that's fine.
Yeah.
So that was a rough loss. Another game was Rob beating the Dougals by 17 points off the back of a now injured Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Rob's another one that's been a bit unlucky with some of the games and some of the performances this year. He struggled to find a QB, finally finds one, that's just starting to hit his stride, and then goes out and hurts himself. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see his waiver movements this week. There's a couple of QBs out there that could do the job for a one-hit wonder. I'm not sure who will last the rest of the year, but that's Robbie's problem. Yeah, yes it is. And the final game was Mike beating Tommy comprehensively off the back of Josh Allen scoring 35 points and every other player on his roster hitting double digits, which is the only time that happened this round. It's the only time it's happened in the last couple of rounds. Yeah, right, okay. It's an interesting stack for you. Yeah, no, that was a sound drumming. Yes. Tommy had Jalen Hurts, who put up 35 plus, I think, but also Darren Waller injured in the first couple of plays for 0.9. Yeah, so I think what it was. For someone who was drafted so high with such potential for tight end this year, it's been a bit of a rough season for him at the Giants. Yeah, I think he might have had a wide receiver. I don't know if he's on his bench or not, but that went to IR as well. Kendrick Bourne, for the Pats, now out for the rest of the year. Yeah, so it's been ACL. Oof, that's rough. All right, well, that was what are we now? Week 8 of special teams. That's a wrap up there, and we'll be back in a moment. All right, now, Kamish, we've been talking the last couple of days, and there's been, like we mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of trades that have gone through this year, probably as much or more than we've had in previous seasons. But the trade chatter there's a lot of build-up when someone wants to pitch a trade and talk, and when it happens, it's, big so-and-so moved here, there, lots of chat, and then the conversation just stops. You found a way to kind of keep that conversation and empirically prove for some of the biggest trades this year
Who's ahead? Who's behind?
Yeah, I found it interesting. In years past, we've had like, oh, well, what's going on with this trade? This isn't cool, or that isn't cool, or good trade, whatever. But it's just been weird this season where, I might get direct messages, or you'll probably get people messaging you, about, oh, did you see that trade? But there isn't any chat in the actual group chat room, which I think maybe is a good thing. People aren't getting called out, or you have to feel ashamed about your trade. Maybe you thought it was good. Like, I think Rich got one over on me the other week.
Well done, Rich.
But yeah, so I did go through and I did some statistical analysis through addition.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
And no subtraction, just pure addition.
Yes, just
nothing
addition.
but positive here on the Special Teams podcast. I like it. Run us through. I think you picked 3. What are those?
Yeah, so we had one of the biggest trades we ever had, the Kelsey for Andrews, Laporta, and Akers.
Oh yeah, the 3-for.
Yep, and then we had the Eckler trade for Ford and Brown.
Yep.
And then the Hawkinson trade for Waller and Herbert.
Big cock versus Herbie. Yeah. That's what we love.
Yep.
Talk us through the first one and what stats you've compiled together.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you kind of look at the stats, you look at the Kelsey and trade for Andrews and his 2 mates, and I don't know, it can potentially look like maybe Braden got the better end of the deal as far as he was able to take all those pieces and move some of them right away, to get other players, but. Then you start looking at the stats that Kelsey's putting up, and it's a set and forget kind of league winning tight end.
As long as
you'll
Taylor
see
Swift's
from
in the audience, yeah.
Yes, as long as she's there, because you can look at the stats we've laid out, and I know trades are not that simplistic, but it's just having a bit of fun with math.
Yeah, I like it. What was trade number 2?
So trade number 2, you had Eckler for Ford and Brown, which. I raised a few eyebrows.
It did.
Eyebrows and eyeballs, maybe on that one for me. But then, the chatter around the league is, Eckler wasn't performing, injured. He even looked injured.
Missed a few weeks.
Yeah, missed a few weeks. He even looked injured up until this week. And then, you look at the stats, and that's worked out pretty well for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, Ford took that job in Cleveland and kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
Points scored versus guy injured.
Yeah, and
always
if
get the points scored.
Yeah, and he was injured for a little bit there as well, and so his stats have been hurt. But I think Tommy came out pretty well on the end of that one so far.
Yeah, and the third and final trade.
Yeah, so Waller and Herbert for Hawkinson.
Yep.
I don't know. I was just throwing trades out. I was like, everyone else is trading. I want to get one out there, and
yeah, it's fun to be involved.
Yeah. Waller was having some good weeks, and then when he's having good weeks when he's on your team, he's like, he's probably going to keep going. Do you want to trade him? And so I thought I'd try to get him out there and maybe get Hawkinson in since I had the heartbreak of JJ getting injured.
Yeah, you got to have a Viking there.
Yeah. I thought maybe more targets would go Hawkinson way, and I mean,
to be fair, they have the stats prove it.
Yeah,
who knows what's going to happen with Dobbs coming up, but you always want one of the big dogs in your roster. I mean,
yeah, true.
It'll be a good safety blanket for him.
Yeah, hopefully he just throws jump balls. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's been kind of a bit of a wash up until when Waller got hurt, this last week, and that's just something you can't predict. Tommy will have Herbert coming back here maybe in a week or 2. So
yeah, who
see how he goes.
As a Herbert owner in another league, like the last couple of weeks have been tough with the busted finger. But I mean, he threw for 300 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns this week just gone. So
other Herbert.
Oh, Khalil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't have him, but I would be frustrated to have. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Then I have no insight to add to that. Then.
Yeah, no.
Other than looking like a fool.
No, that's all right. I mean,
hey, that's the way it goes. No, we'll keep going. We'll leave all this in. This is a Zero Cup podcast,
whoa,
allegedly. I do want to throw to a piece. As you can see, the production here is magnificent. It puts ESPN to shame.
Notch.
But this does not come for free.
No.
So we've had a lovely sponsor, Dave at Brown's Brossa Donuts. He promised a lot, and his video was lovely.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kind of want a bit more. So we're throwing the door open to any other sponsors that want to come on. Donate us some laughs. Come on for your time.
Yeah, no, like usually when you're a sponsor, you give things, it's money or product, things like that, T-shirts, hats. but I haven't received anything. Have you received anything?
No, I've had to pay for donuts that weren't even his.
Oh.
And that's just my choice.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But
it's because you had to.
yes, I had to. I was forced. My hands were tied. But yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor this podcast and come on board, send us an ad, feel free. We'd love to have you. All right, a new segment on the Special Teams podcast. We're calling this Waiver Watch. We just had the trade deadline go in the NFL. We've had a few players that have been sitting on the couch for a long time. What's going to happen in this week's waivers? Do you have anyone that you're excited to see have some action?
Well, I don't know if anyone is more excited for waivers than the Dougals, because old mate Leonard Fournette.
Oh, Lenny Fournette.
Yes, he has been called up. So I think Dougal might be spending some of that fab potentially for the first time in 2 seasons.
Breaking that cherry.
Yeah, this will be his 3rd waiver pickup on the season.
Wow, Willie put $400 of fab over the last 2 years just for Lenny F. Who knows, he could come back. Yeah. Another guy that I was surprised didn't go last week, and I could be shooting myself in the foot here, but this won't come out before waivers, is Trey McBride from Arizona, the tight end. Now that Zach Ertz is on IR. Had a massive game, put up 20-something points. Could be a very handy pickup.
Yeah, he was one of the tight ends I was alluding to. And, if I didn't have Hawkinson and also Hill, who's probably going to score me a goose egg, then maybe I'd have a look. But yeah, I was very surprised he didn't pick up either.
Loyalty to Kyle Pitts through thick or thin hasn't been my choice, but it may be tested this week in waivers. We'll have to wait and see. The prizes. This is one of the things I love about special teams, and that we've included a way to keep things interesting throughout the year, financially and also with a bit of banter here and there. The prizes have come back this year. Tell us a bit about what's happened so far and what the results are for this week.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about what are some other things we can do that are fun, to try to keep things interesting, especially as it gets later in the season. People are losing. Like Rob is going to not be interested here very soon, as he keeps losing and falling down the ranks. But I was just remembering back in the day of Skype and ESPN and, Beast Mode and Splinters Awards and all those. And, you were talking about your other league. Yeah. Your other league, and we'll allow it. It was like, let's, try introducing some of that this season just to spice things up, have a bit more fun.
I love it. So what was the award for this week and who does it go to? I think it was hotly contested.
Yes, it was very close. The award was Yahtzee, the player to score 21 points, or starter that comes the closest to scoring 21 points. And as I was going through the list, I believe we had Synth with...
is it Devonta Smith?
Yes, with 20.9.
20.9. Normally would take it out. That's a very good score. That's very close to 21.
Yeah. But now we had Mixon for the Dougals. Bang on 21.
Bang on 21. Great effort. All right. So what do they win?
So I believe it's $50 this week.
Hey.
Christina, or Mrs. Kamish, despite maybe not having so much success on the field this season, has taken out the previous 2 awards. No scandal there, nothing to see.
Not calling bullshit at all. But at least not to your face.
Not at all. But you'll notice if you look at the trophy list, they're all kind of backdated kind of towards the end of the season. Just to try to keep people interested, and with it's kind of fun to create the AI graphics. And hat tip to Synth, he put in a lot of those ideas.
And Cynthy, I must say I'm loving them. I'm loving the creativity of the AI awards. And just a bit of banter to go throughout the year. We'll finish up this episode of the podcast we're just over halfway through. We're exactly halfway through the NFL season.
Yep.
And just over halfway through the fantasy season, regular season. Let's talk about picks to win it from here. We're halfway through, so a lot of things can happen. A lot of water can go under the bridge, a lot of injuries, a lot of trades or whatever so far, and not so much that the trade deadline's done, but you never know what will happen.
Yep.
Let's talk NFL for a second. We've got AFC, NFC, picks to win it, or let's say picks to get to the Super Bowl.
I would have a better idea of our fantasy team than I would the NFL. I don't know.
So AFC, we've got the Chiefs, we've got the Bills, we've got the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're the kind of top 3 at the moment. The Jets are surprisingly in the top half.
Yeah.
How long that'll last, we never know. The Rodgers' magic Achilles comes back after 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Who knows where they can go?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of, as a Seahawks fan, I don't think we have enough. As much as it pains me, I don't think we have enough to get it done this year, even though we are top of the NFC West.
From an NFC point of view, yeah, the Seahawks are doing well. The Niners, apart from their recent 3-game slide, looked unbeatable at some points.
Yep.
There's also between the Bengals. Joey Burrow and Chase just starting to actually look like top draft picks and top fantasy players now. So if I had to pick, obviously I'm going to go with the Niners. I reckon that we've got the depth now. The defense is back there, and I think. I also mentioned Philly in the NFC as well. They're going to be tough to beat. But I'd say the Bills. Bills is my pick from the NFC. So Bills, Niners, Super Bowl. Yeah, I think fast paced, lots of action.
Yeah, I reckon Bills. Philly. I don't know. I guess I'd like to see the Bills up there. I have memories of was it Scott Norwood back in the day?
Yep.
Norwood trying to kick the field goals and missing.
The old Jim Kelly days. Yeah.
But and what the heck? Maybe I'll just go for the Seahawks. Maybe they can get
throw it out there. Yeah. Get that Homer pick. I like it. Get that Travis Homer pick, if you will. Well, thanks for being on the podcast this episode, Jeff. We've loved having you, and I'm sure everyone watching as well.
Should we go picks for the special teams?
Special teams, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, before I rudely hook you off, let's talk about the big news. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we have the interesting stratification of where everybody's kind of sitting right now. You have a bunch of people that have kind of hit the bottom half, and then we have a bunch that are kind of tied for first and second, if not just a game away. But we'll have to give your team a hat tip. You're looking really strong this year.
Putting up points,
But Braden probably has the deepest team out there.
Agreed. Like I was saying to you before, his defense is fantastic. He's allowed 100 less points than anyone else in the league. So tops off to whatever he's doing on that roster in training. It's
done.
Paying off.
He's just giving him a spray on WhatsApp, I think, beforehand.
Exactly.
But no, I reckon Rich could be a sneaky pick. He's rising up through the ranks.
He's
kind of slowly.
He's made some good trades.
Yeah, good trades.
Scoring big points. It's Patty Mahomes gets back to his normal level.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon he's definitely a chance to go deep in playoffs.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I don't want to jinx anything. I'm pretty happy with being this far ahead, this far deep into the season. Normally, I get all my wins in the first 4 weeks and then die off a cliff. But yeah, likewise, Braden puts up a lot of points. Synth is always very tough to play against. He's scoring well. Can't can out Benny. Weaver is thereabouts. As much as you don't want him to, I think he deserves getting into the finals and playing well. And yeah, Rich is the real kind of smoky, if you will.
Yeah, and I think at this point of the season, it's still open. Like if you're kind of the bottom, if you're in the bottom of the standings, I think if you can kind of win out, maybe take a loss, maybe one-ish loss, you can still sneak in.
There's some bye weeks coming up that can just decimate teams.
Yeah,
I've got about 3 or 4 of my starters on bye this week, and I know other teams are in the same last week, next week, whatever. All that can be is one injury or a couple of spots where you can't fill, or you're putting bench players in and you can't hit those heights.
Yeah, no, I mean, thankfully, I beat Braden on my big bye week.
And let him know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice play. All right, well, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to be part of the Special Teams podcast, let me know. We'd love to have you on, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya.